Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast.
Coming up in this latest episode, I find out that being old has its advantages when it comes to taking a quiz. And I still have some memory. I didn't realize this.
You are going to milk that for all it's worth.
You'll have to find out what we're talking about.
It was one question, Ken.
Okay. That's on the way.
He's just happy with himself because he won something.
Yeah. Take what you can get.
Yeah.
Comment. No comments.
I'm moving on.
Okay.
I'm moving on. We were just talking before we started recording about how many families that we're reaching with this podcast, and we're not done yet. We want to reach even more families all across the state of Idaho and nationally. We even have some that are international that have listened. It's really about spreading the word, and that's where we need your help.
And you can spread the word by sharing one of your favorite podcasts from us.
Yeah, you can share it email. You can share it through an email or through social media. You can even share the whole entire podcast in general. And then a really good way is also when you listen to an episode to click on some stars, maybe a quick review. Somehow it like works on the algorithms. Yeah. Is that, am I saying it right?
Algorithms.
How do you say it?
Algorithms.
Algorithms. That's close to what I said.
Okay.
That's good enough. It's good enough. Just like my answer to the quiz that I did not get.
My two superpowers. I do have some memory and I know how to pronounce a word. One word. And also, please, if you have any questions, any answers, whatever, you can always contact us. You can, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you see the
So we
post.
do have our Facebook page, and we do have, the ability to have Messenger. I feel like we have a group chat as well. So you can join the Resilient Parenting Podcast Facebook page. And then also there is a link where you can click on, I think it is send a text, and that will come to us as well. And it's actually pretty cool. I would love people to even say, love the episode, or hey, can you talk more about so-and-so subject? It's a direct way to get a hold of us. And so would love to hear from you and hear what you think about what you learned.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something you do after you listen to this next episode.
Yes, where Ken wins a quiz that had one question.
Take what you can get.
We are visiting with Megan Woller, MPA, Executive Director for the Idaho Head Start Association. Thank you so much, Megan, for joining us or for letting us visit you.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Yeah, we're super excited. On the way here, Ken was saying that he doesn't really know a lot about the Head Start.
Well, I've heard of Head Start pretty much all my life, but I wasn't quite sure what Head Start was or what it does. So I guess the onus is on you now, right?
Yes. Well, I'm happy to have an opportunity to tell you. And I also didn't know much about Head Start before I took this job. I had some friends who went through Head Start when we were little. All I really knew about it was that it was this no-cost pre-K for low-income families. But now in this role, I've learned it's so much more than that. It's as much about school readiness as it is about economic readiness and economic prosperity for the whole family. It's about breaking generational poverty. And I think it would be fun to kick off this morning with a little pop quiz for you two.
Ooh, pop quiz. Normally that would make me sweat.
Well, because you heard me say I didn't know anything about it. I was like, okay, we're going to nail him now.
Oh, all right. Are we competing here? Or?
Yes.
Okay, that we like that.
I'm already losing.
What year do you think Head Start began?
Oh, wait, isn't it multiple choice?
Nope.
I'll say 1964.
Okay.
I'm going to say 1975.
You win.
Was it
Yep,
64?
1965.
Oh.
Yep. So it was born out of President Lyndon B. Johnson's
That's
War
what
on
I was
Poverty.
thinking. Okay.
Yep.
I'm old enough to know. But
Well,
you
remember
know this.
LBJ, yeah.
You had heard about it your whole life. So I'm like, okay. So back in 1965, so almost 60 years ago, we're coming up on our 60th anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
Head Start began, and it started as a summer program. And it would teach, school readiness for kids, really kind of the most vulnerable populations of kids. And an interesting fact I learned about it recently that I wanted to share is, so in the 60s, we were, in the midst of the civil rights movement.
Yep.
And the funding, so if you didn't know, Head Start is federally funded. And the funding model is federal to local. So it bypasses states. And that's on purpose because during the 60s, during the civil rights movement, there were some states that maybe didn't want these federal dollars to be going towards potentially these communities of color or really vulnerable or rural communities. So it bypassed the states and went directly to these local entities. And I can talk a bit about who those entities in Idaho are that have the Head Start grant. Because that's still the funding model today. So in Idaho, we have 13 grant recipients all throughout the state. So 2 of them are community colleges. I think 4 of them are nonprofits, so early childhood ed nonprofits. We have 2 CAP agencies, so Community Action Partnership, YCAP, ECAP, so Western and Eastern Idaho. 3 tribal programs. So Nez Perce Tribe, Coeur d'Alene Tribe, and Shoshone Bannock tribes all have a grant. And then 1 migrant and seasonal Head Start program. So the tribal programs and migrant and seasonal programs have a little bit different eligibility criteria, but generally kind of some standard eligibility that we'll go over later.
Okay.
Yeah.
This all involves pre-K.
Yes. So would you like me to share kind of an overview of what Head Start is?
And just a quick little backstory. Our grandkids live in Washington, D.C. Okay. And they are pre-kindergartner, and they have free pre-K back there.
Like universal.
For everybody.
Yep.
So it varies from state to state then, right?
Right. So in Idaho, we don't have that.
Right.
And also in some states, states provide additional Head Start dollars. In Idaho, we don't do that either. But when we're talking about the universal pre-K movement, the Head Start community, the main thing there is making sure that if ever in Idaho we do offer universal pre-K, we're ensuring that the families that really should go to Head Start know about Head Start because they're receiving all of these different wraparound services.
Wow.
So let's go into an overview of what it
about
does. Yep. So Head Start doesn't just serve kids 3 to 5 with no cost pre-K. It's a wraparound services program. So there's early Head Start. So really it serves prenatal to 5.
Oh, wow.
So I could be an expectant mother and enroll in early Head Start and have a home visitor come visit me once a week, talk about goals for this child I'm going to be having, make sure I'm connected to a medical and dental home. We know how important dental care is when you're pregnant, making sure I'm getting prenatal care, all of that. Or maybe I have a 2-year-old, which I do have a 2-year-old, and say he was enrolled in Head Start, we were enrolled in early Head Start. That would look similar, a home visitor coming and once a week working with me on some developmentally appropriate activities to help his brain development and different skills appropriate for that age. Then we move into our standard Head Start that I think most of us are a little bit more familiar with, which is that 3 to 5 pre-K age.
Right.
And that typically looks like kids attending a center. So it looks like regular kind of preschool, evidence-based curriculum. But also that 2-generation approach that I mentioned before. Families are meeting with, typically the title would be like a family advocate, something of the sort, who's working with them on what goals they may have. Maybe a parent is wanting to leave an abusive relationship, so that a family advocate can work with them to find a resource in the community.
Wow.
Or maybe it's, I want to read to my child every night because I know how important reading is. And the family advocate would work with them on achieving that goal. So really all of these services, kids are receiving dental care, making sure they're connected to a medical home, all of those really important nutrition, physical health aspects are a part of Head Start.
Wow, when you say wrap around, you really mean wrap around. So much more than just a preschool.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is amazing. So who qualifies for these programs?
So the most basic eligibility criteria is those families that are at 100 to 130% of the federal poverty level. Some other criteria there's actually some categorical eligibility criteria. So if you are a foster parent, your kid could attend Head Start, your foster child could attend Head Start automatically. Or if the family is receiving some public assistance like TANF, SSI, SNAP, food stamps, that's automatic eligibility. And if the kiddo and family is experiencing homelessness, they're automatically eligible. What's kind of nice is each grantee, as part of the federal performance standards, they have to conduct a community assessment every year to assess what's going on in their community. So they can kind of tweak their eligibility, which right now is very important, especially in places like Idaho where housing and things like that are becoming so...
The cost of living has just skyrocketed, including groceries.
Yeah.
I mean, just the bare necessities of life have really gone up.
Yeah. So the fact that programs can kind of tailor their eligibility a little bit, that's really nice. They have a little bit of autonomy.
That they look at the community as a whole to look at, I just love that.
And something else that I really love to share about Head Start is we engage parents so well. We have to have a policy council. So each grantee has to have a policy council, which is comprised mostly of parents, some community members. And the parents really get to govern their program. So they get to decide, hey, the bus driver, let's give the bus driver a raise this year, and let's get rid of this policy. Let's adapt this policy to better meet our needs. So really it's engaging parents and helping them develop as leaders and as civically.
Well, 'cause no one knows better than those that are actually living that experience.
Yes.
And who have utilized the services to know what worked, what didn't work, what they need. That is brilliant.
Yes.
So I'm curious of where you're located in Idaho.
Yep. So North Idaho College, and then right next door is a nonprofit that has early Head Start. North Idaho College has regular Head Start. So we're up there. We're in Lewiston. And when I say this is where the grantee is, but that doesn't mean only Lewiston is where their centers are. They're all throughout the, like 4 counties over where Lewiston is, and then up Coeur d'Alene and all over there. And then Eastern Idaho, we have ECAP, Bear River, which actually serves some of Utah too. Down, we've got Pocatello, Chubbuck. That's the only school district that's a grantee. CSI, College of Southern Idaho. Community Council of Idaho, the former Migrant Council in Caldwell, they are a grantee. They're actually the biggest grantee in our state with the Migrant and Seasonal Program.
Right.
So they have a lot of centers in this western Idaho area, clear down, the Snake River, taking you down through Twin Falls and down there. And then also in Ada County, a big program is FOCAF, Friends of Children and Families.
Oh, right.
So they serve all of Ada County, some Elmore County. And then YCAP is also local. YCAP is in Emmett, Payette, Caldwell, Wilder, all sorts of.
So pretty much all over the state.
Very saturated, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And how would they, if someone, one of our listeners is like, hey, I want to get connected, what should they do?
Yes. So as the association, one thing to clear up, I don't have any authority over the grantees, right? We're a membership organization. I'm a separate nonprofit. I don't receive any federal Head Start dollars.
You just connect.
I connect.
You're the connector.
Okay.
Yep. So I actually get quite a few calls from parents trying to enroll, and often I'm just directing them to a page on our website where they can input their zip code and find their local program.
Okay.
And this page that you're talking about, we can add to our show notes.
Yes.
So you don't have to call the connector, Miss Megan over here, though she's lovely. You can go straight to the source.
Oh, it's kind of cool to have the title. I am the connector. Connector.
Yes. Yes.
Director of correcting.
Yeah.
Wait, not correcting.
Connecting.
Connecting.
Connector.
And also at IHSA, what we do is connect and liaise, but we have strategic partnerships, collaboration with different, early childhood ed stakeholders, and making sure Head Start's a voice in those conversations. Just like you mentioned with Universal Pre-K, we want to be sure that the Head Start voice is in those conversations. We provide recognition, so we give scholarships to Head Start alumni and parents and staff every year, and a Legislator of the Year award every year. And we're kind of like the lobbying arm of things.
Okay.
So we are who can go advocate, which is something I'm doing next week, meeting with our congressional delegation, talking about funding levels for Head Start, since that's a federal issue for our Idaho grantees. And so those are some of the things that we do
Okay.
as the association.
You're not at all busy.
And we have one staff.
Well, okay, there was a website. You said we could put this in the show notes. What's the website again?
So idahohsa.org.
And I think there's a few different ones, because also nationally, you were mentioning that there's a national organization so to get you connected.
Yes.
Can they just go in there and say, this is where I live, what's close by me?
So if they, I can't say for certain, but if they go to either the Office of Head Start website, so that's the federal level, I think they have a similar tool that we have.
Perfect.
So anywhere throughout the country, they can find a program.
So this is really exciting. I mean, Ken and I are no longer, our kids are all grown, but I just know a lot of folks that are in this time, or, we work with a lot of, in our podcast, we talk a lot about different caregivers. And so grandparents who are now parenting their grandchildren, aunts and uncles. It's just nice to know that this resource is available.
Yep.
And to help the wraparound service, not just focused on the child, but on the whole family unit and on the community.
Yes.
That is amazing. So can you, if we were to say, something that maybe you would learn at Head Start, but that is like an action step that our listeners today could learn, that would be just one of many, 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 many things. What was something that you would share with our listeners today?
Yeah, so something I'm really excited about talking about right now is the teeth brushing that they do in Head Start. One of my close friends said she actually learned how to brush her teeth in Head Start.
Oh, wow.
Because kids aren't always doing that at home. And so to be able to go to school and learn how to brush your teeth. And so what they do in Head Start is they give the kiddos a little hourglass timer.
Oh, okay.
And so kids, getting to turn the timer and see the sand go down while you brush your teeth for the right amount of time is kind of a fun way.
I think I need to use that.
Get them to brush their teeth. So that's what I'd say you could do today.
Okay. Awesome. I think I need that because every time I'm not a stander, I am a pacer. So I brush my teeth while I do other things. So I may actually go past the timer, but that would be a good indicator. Well, we really appreciate your time today. This is fascinating, and I hope that our listeners will not only look at it for themselves, but share it with folks that they know that could utilize this. And anything you want to add, Ken?
No, I think we already had the quiz earlier, so there's no quiz after the program.
Right.
But I will tell you the answer is 1965.
Yes. President
The
Johnson.
only one at the table who was alive at that time.
I don't know who you're talking about.
He cheated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.